Think about lying down in your bed tonight, closing your eyes just like you've done 1,000 times before, and never opening them again. No struggle, no pain you'll remember, just total silence. This happens much more often than most people realize. Every single year, hundreds of thousands of adults over the age of 50 suffer heart attacks and strokes while they are fast asleep. And here is the most chilling part. For the vast majority of them, the cause wasn't a rare disease, bad luck, or family history alone. It was actually something they were doing every night, believing it was completely safe. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the nighttime habits that quietly turn sleep into the most dangerous moment of the day for your heart and your brain. More importantly, I'll show you exactly what you can change starting tonight to stay safe. What you're about to learn is not a theory, it is not a scare tactic, it is medical reality. My name is Dr. Michael Kent, and I've spent my life studying the hearts of people over 50. If that is your age group, this message could literally save your life. Now, I want you to really think about what happens when you turn off those lights and the house goes quiet. Most of us believe that when we go to sleep, our bodies just shut down into rest. We think of it like parking a car in the garage and turning off the engine. But in reality, for your cardiovascular system, sleep is the most active and critical time of the entire day. It is anything but a shutdown. This is when your heart is supposed to slow down, your blood pressure is supposed to drop, and your brain is supposed to flush out all the trash and metabolic toxins that built up during your waking hours. This is the period of time where your cells regenerate and your blood vessels repair the damage from the day's stress. We call this the dipping phase, and it is the only time your heart actually gets to recover from the stress of living. Think of your heart as a pump that has been working for 60, 70, or 80 years without a single second of rest. It doesn't get a weekend off, it doesn't get a vacation. Sleep is the only break it gets for the entire day. But for millions of Americans over 60, this recovery never happens. Instead of resting, their hearts are forced to race. Instead of their blood pressure dropping, it spikes to dangerous levels that the body wasn't designed to handle in a lying down position. When you're standing up, gravity helps move blood. But when you're flat on your back, your heart has to change its entire strategy. And the worst part is you are completely unconscious while it's happening. You have no idea that your body is in a state of total physiological panic until it's too late. You are essentially fighting for your life while you're trying to dream. And your heart is screaming for help while you're fast asleep, unaware of the danger building up inside. Let's look at the very first habit that creates this midnight panic. It's something almost everyone does, and most people think it's just a normal part of a relaxing evening. I'm talking about eating a heavy meal late at night. Now, I'm not just talking about junk food or fast food. Even a healthy large dinner, maybe some steak, potatoes, and a salad at 8 Mile or $9 p.m. can be a death sentence for someone over 50. You might think you're just fueling your body, but you're actually sabotaging your internal clock. Here is the simple fifth grade science of why this happens, and I want you to picture this in your mind. Your body only has a certain amount of blood, usually about 5 liters in total. When you eat a big meal, your digestive system becomes the absolute priority for the body's resources. Your stomach and your intestines demand a massive amount of that blood to start the complex process of breaking down that food, churning it, and absorbing nutrients. This requires an incredible amount of energy. But when you lie down to sleep, your heart is trying to enter its low power mode. By eating late, you're forcing your heart into a blood flow war. Your stomach is pulling blood one way to handle the digestion, and your heart is struggling to keep enough blood flowing upward to your brain and your vital organs. Imagine trying to run a full marathon while you're trying to take a nap. It just doesn't work. When your stomach is working overtime at 2 a.m., your heart rate doesn't drop to its resting state. Your blood pressure stays high because the body thinks it's still in work mode. In the medical world, we call these people non-dippers. If your blood pressure doesn't dip at night, your risk of a stroke in the early morning hours goes up by more than 400%. It is the single greatest predictor of a cardiovascular event in seniors. I want to tell you about a patient of mine, a 68-year-old man named Bill. Bill was a healthy guy. He didn't smoke, and he walked his dog every day. But Bill loved having a big bowl of pasta and some thick bread right before bed every single night. He told me it made him feel heavy and helped him fall asleep faster. What he didn't realize was that while he was asleep, his heart was pounding at 90 beats per minute just to digest that pasta. His body was sweating, his arteries were under pressure, and his brain wasn't getting the deep sleep it needed. One night, his heart just couldn't handle the war anymore. He woke up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat with what felt like an elephant sitting on his chest. He was lucky. His wife heard him struggling, and he made it to the hospital in time. But so many people aren't that lucky. They live alone, or their partners are heavy sleepers and they stay in that silent state forever. If you want to protect yourself tonight, your last heavy bite of food needs to happen at least 3 to 4 hours before your head hits that pillow. You have to give your heart permission to rest, and it simply cannot do that if it's busy being a slave to your stomach and your late night cravings. Beyond just the heart, late night eating triggers a hormonal cascade. It spikes your insulin. When insulin is high, your body cannot produce the growth hormones needed for tissue repair. So, not only is your heart working harder, but it's also losing its ability to fix the wear and tear on your valves and vessels. This is a double-edged sword that cuts deep into your longevity and your heart health. But there is another habit that is even more common, and it's one that people actually do because they think they are being smart and healthy. I hear this from my patients every single day in the clinic. They tell me, Dr. Kent, I stopped drinking all liquids after 600 p.m. because I don't want to get up 3 times in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. I understand that completely. Broken sleep is frustrating. It increases the risk of falls in the dark and it makes you feel tired the next day. But I want you to listen very closely to what happens inside your veins and your arteries when you go to bed dehydrated. Your blood is mostly water. When you are dehydrated, your blood volume drops, but the solid parts of your blood, the cholesterol, the platelets, the calcium, and the waste products stay the same. This means your blood becomes thick, sticky, and slow. Imagine trying to pump thick, cold maple syrup through a tiny plastic straw. That is exactly what you are asking your aging heart to do at 4 a.m. When the blood is thick, the friction against the walls of your arteries increases. This friction causes inflammation, and inflammation leads to the buildup of plaque. As you sleep, you are constantly losing moisture. Every time you breathe out, you are losing water vapor. Every time you sweat, even a little, you are losing water. If you start the night dry, by the time 3 out rolls around, your blood is at its absolute thickest. This is what we call the golden hour for blood clots. Because the blood is moving so slowly, the platelets start to clump together like wet sand. If one of those tiny clumps gets stuck in a narrow, stiff vessel in your heart or your brain, the lights go out. This is why the highest number of strokes and heart attacks happen right before dawn. Your blood was just too thick to flow through the pipes. The solution isn't to flood yourself with a gallon of water right at bedtime because that will obviously keep you awake and cause other issues. The solution is a steady trickle. A small 4 oz glass of room temperature water an hour before bed, combined with a quick trip to the bathroom, won't hurt your sleep as much as thick stagnant blood will hurt your heart. Think of it as greasing the pipes for the night ahead. You want your blood to be like a flowing river, not a stagnant swamp. Now, let's talk about the silent thief that many seniors ignore because they just think it's normal snoring. We often joke about snoring, but for many, it's a warning sign of a deadly condition. If you wake up gasping for air, or if your spouse tells you that you seem to stop breathing for a few seconds before making a loud snorting sound, you are in danger. In these moments, you are putting a massive unbearable tax on your cardiovascular system. This is sleep apnea, but I want you to think of it as nighttime suffocation. Every time your airway closes and you stop breathing, the oxygen levels in your blood crash. Your brain which is the most oxygen-hungry organ in your body, senses that you are dying. In a state of total panic, your brain sends a massive jolt of adrenaline, the fight or flight hormone, to your heart to wake you up so you'll take a breath. Your heart rate might jump from a peaceful 60 beats per minute to 120 in a split second. Your blood pressure skyrockets to levels that would be high even if you were fighting an intruder. This can happen 20, 30, or even 50 times every single hour. Imagine if someone walked into your room every few minutes while you were trying to sleep and popped a loud balloon next to your ear. That is exactly what your heart is experiencing. This constant shock to the system, night after night, scars the heart muscle. It makes the walls of your heart stiff and thick. Eventually, it leads to something called atrial fibrillation, which is a fancy way of saying your heart loses its rhythm and starts beating like a bag of wiggling worms instead of a strong, steady pump. When the heart wiggles instead of pumping, blood pools in the corners of the heart chambers. That pooled blood turns into dangerous clots. Those clots eventually travel to the brain. That is how a simple snore becomes a massive stroke. If you snore, or if you feel like a zombie, even after you thought you slept for 8 hours, you must take this seriously. This isn't just an annoying sound. It is a cardiac emergency that is playing out in slow motion every night. Many people resist the idea of a CPAP machine or a sleep study because they think it's too much trouble. But let me ask you, is a machine at night more trouble than a wheelchair and a feeding tube after a stroke? Simply changing your sleeping position? Moving from your back to your side with a body pillow can sometimes open that airway just enough to save your life. It's a small adjustment that pays massive dividends in heart health. And then we have to talk about something very personal. For many of you, the medicine cabinet trap. This is for everyone watching who takes pills for blood pressure, cholesterol, or heart health. Many of my patients are very disciplined. They never miss a dose, but they are taking their medicine at the wrong time of day. Most people take their blood pressure pills in the morning because it's part of their getting ready routine right next to their coffee. But remember what I said about the midnight spike. For many people over the age of 60, their highest and most dangerous blood pressure readings don't happen while they are stressed at work. They happen while they are asleep, specifically during the REM phase of sleep when the brain is active. If you take your medicine at 8 a.m., the concentration of that drug in your blood might be wearing off by the time you actually need it most, which is that dangerous window between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. Recent large-scale medical studies have shown that for a specific group of seniors, moving their blood pressure medication from the morning to the evening reduced their risk of a fatal heart attack by nearly 50%. Think about that number for a second. You aren't taking a new drug. You aren't paying more money. And you aren't dealing with new side effects. You are simply changing the timing. You are simply changing the time of day you swallow that pill. It changes the pharmacokinetics of the drug to match your body's most vulnerable moments. Now, I want to be very clear. I am a doctor on the internet, not your doctor. Every person's body is different. You must not change your medication schedule without calling your physician first. Some medications, like diuretics or water pills, should still be taken in the morning so you aren't up all night in the bathroom. But I want you to have that conversation. Call their office tomorrow and ask, Doctor, based on my latest readings and my sleep patterns, would I be safer taking my dose before bed? It could be your most important medical decision. Finally, I want to talk about the physical environment you are sleeping in. This is the temperature trap. Many of us, especially as we get older, like a warm, cozy room, we turn up the heat to 75. We put on heavy flannel pajamas and we pile on the thick blankets. But I have to tell you, your heart hates heat when it's trying to sleep. To get into that deep restorative state where your body actually repairs your arteries and settles your nervous system, your core body temperature has to drop by about 2 degrees. If your bedroom is too hot, your body can't release that heat through your skin. Your heart then has to beat faster and pump more blood to the surface. It's trying to act like a radiator for a car that's overheating. You are essentially putting your heart on a treadmill for 8 hours straight while you think you're resting. The ideal temperature for heart safety is between 65 and 70 degree F. I know that sounds chilly to some of you, but that is the Goldilocks zone for human biology. It allows your blood vessels to relax, your nervous system to switch from alert to rest, and your heart rate to reach its lowest, healthiest point. On the flip side, being in an ice-cold room is also a danger as it causes your vessels to clamp down to save heat, which spikes your pressure. It's all about finding that perfect balance. If you struggle with being cold, use a warm blanket specifically for your feet to keep your extremities warm, but keep the air you're breathing cool. Your heart will thank you for it by beating more slowly and steadily all night long. This temperature drop also helps with the production of melatonin, which is a powerful antioxidant that protects the heart muscle itself. So, how do we put all of this together into something you can actually use starting tonight? I don't want you to just listen to this and feel worried or overwhelmed. I want you to feel empowered. You are the CEO of your own health. I want to give you a heart-safe evening routine that you can start tonight. It's a simple step-by-step plan for your 60s and 70s that will act like a shield for your heart while you dream. First, your kitchen closing time needs to be 7-notch UPM. If you go to bed at 10 or 11, that 7-notch PM cutoff is vital. No more heavy snacks. No more midnight runs to the fridge for a slice of cheese or leftover chicken. Give your stomach a 3-hour head start so your heart doesn't have to fight a blood flow war at midnight. If you're truly hungry and can't sleep, a tiny piece of fruit or a few nuts is okay, but keep it under 100 calories and keep it light. You want to avoid any heavy digestive work. Second, keep a small glass of room temperature water by your bed. Take small sips if you wake up thirsty, but make sure you've had a few ounces about an hour before you lie down to keep that blood thin and flowing smoothly. Don't guzzle it, just sip it. Third, check your thermostat right now. If it's at 72 or 74, turn it down to 68 degrees. If you're worried about being cold, put on some warm socks. Keeping the feet warm actually helps the rest of the body stay cool, but keep the room air crisp. And fourth, this is a life-saving tip that most people never hear, and it's about how you end your sleep. I want you to practice the slow rise. When you wake up in the morning, do not jump out of bed the moment you open your eyes. Even if you're running late or the dog is barking, your body has been in a low-pressure horizontal state for hours. Your blood is pulled in your torso. If you jump up too fast, your heart has to suddenly scream into action, beating violently to fight gravity and get blood up to your brain. This morning jolt is when a huge percentage of cardiovascular events happen. Instead, sit on the edge of the bed for 1 or 2 full minutes. Move your ankles in circles, stretch your arms, take a few deep breaths, and let your blood pressure stabilize. Let the plumbing of your body adjust to being upright. Give your heart a chance to wake up with you. It's such a simple thing, but it's the difference between a safe start and a dangerous spike. I've seen thousands of patients over my decades in medicine. I've seen the ones who ignored these small signs, thinking they were fine until they ended up in the emergency room. And I've seen the ones who took these words to heart and changed their future. The difference isn't usually in some expensive surgery or a miracle pill from a late-night infomercial. The difference is in these small, quiet, nightly choices that you make in the privacy of your own home. Your heart has been beating for you every single second since you were born. It has never taken a day off. It has never asked for a reward. It has worked through your stresses, your joys, and your struggles. The least we can do as we age is to give it a safe, cool, and peaceful place to rest for 8 hours tonight. Before you close this video and start your evening, I have 3 small requests for you. First, if this information made sense to you and you feel like you learned something new about your own body, please subscribe to the channel. I spend my time digging through the latest medical journals and clinical trials to bring you the truth about aging in a way that is easy to understand and actually useful for your daily life. Second, hit that like button. It might seem like a small click to you, but it tells the YouTube computer that this message is life-saving and it helps me reach other seniors across the country who are at risk tonight. and have no idea why they feel so tired or why their heart is racing in the dark. Third, I want you to leave a comment below. Just type, "I'm protecting my heart tonight." When you write those words, you aren't just commenting for the sake of the video. You are making a commitment to yourself. You are deciding that your health and your future are worth more than a late night snack or a warm room. It's a promise. It's a public promise to take care of the one heart you have. And finally, if you have a friend, a spouse, or a sibling who is over 60, please share this video with them. We are all in this together. You might never know it, but you could be the reason someone you love wakes up and see the sun tomorrow morning. I'm Dr. Michael Kent. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your trust. And thank you for taking your health seriously. Take care of your heart tonight. Sleep well.